Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, starring Sidney Poitier, Katharine Hepburn, Spencer Tracy, Catherine Houghton, directed by Stanley Kramer. Now, I have seen this movie before, but maybe back in 2020 when before Thanksgiving time was around. So let's just get straight into this movie because I don't remember it too well since it's been 4 years. Let's get into it. We open with Dr. John Prentice, played by Sidney Poitier, and Joy Dayton, played by Catherine Houghton, getting off an airplane while the theme song is playing in the background. And I like the song is telling me that this is the story of love as it works for the movie. They get to San Francisco and stop at an art gallery till they leave the hotel to stop at her folks' place. And the uncomfortable thing about surprise is coming up with the scene where Hillary St. George sees something is seeing she's happy and up with Joey. And despite I've seen this movie before. I get the impression they're married to each other after their trip to Hawaii, and they go to their parents' house, and their butler Tilly sees them together and acts all aggressive about it. And another butler named Dorothy walks by the room, and John has gotten the eye on her. He makes a phone call to his parents while Tilly thinks it's wrong for Joey to marry an African American man. And they feel and look happy together as she fell in love with him in 20 minutes. And Joey's mother, Christina, played by Katharine Hepburn, comes in and learns about John in conversation and with Joey. And I really like these characters as John and Joey have such a beautiful chemistry with each other. The awkwardness begins when Christina sees John for the first time and sees as a black man, excuse my pun, because remember, she's white, and the dialogue is awkward for sure. But as said by these actors, are very well done, as we learn he has to fly to New York after dinner to Geneva by the next day so they can get married. And this reminded me of Frozen, where Anna and Hans almost marry each other after one day, whereas here it's been 10 days since they first met. And this is done better than Frozen, in my opinion. Not to make anybody too angry, but that's my opinion. While John is super nervous about meeting his parents and felt it from Sidney Poitier's acting, and he's very good in this movie. Matt Drayton, played by Spencer Tracy, comes in and Tilly acts all hysterical about John's presence. And he meets John for the first time, and we learn some dialogue at one point about John and Joey are getting married, and John and Joey want to see if her parents have any objections about it. And Matt calls someone in the government to hear about John and who he really is, as he was completely shocked along with Christina about John being an African American. And John comes in and tells Joey's parents that he'll accept their objections of the marriage if they don't approve them as a couple, I'll say. He'll leave as he wouldn't know how to deal with it. And the script could have told this story completely wrong, and this script tells it completely right, which is a tremendous choice of the writer as well as the casting director who puts together the cast of these characters. Matt and Christina look at John and Joey carefully as they're a very happy couple, which is a beautiful thing, and the cinematography in this whole movie was impressive, as I was impressed with it from start to finish. Joey and Christina have a chat about how they met in Hawaii, while Matt and John have a talk about how scared they both are about the quick decision of a marriage is, and John gets a call from his father and says they're coming to San Francisco to take them out to dinner, and they're going to have dinner at while they have dinner at their parents' house, and they forcefully come up to San Francisco to meet him and his fiance, which creates so many complications to the situation, as Matt and Christina are worried because they learn about Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. And the scenes are written quite tremendously, but very awkwardly. But anyways, let's move on. Monsignor Ryan comes in and meets John and learns he's an important man as far as the famous doctor goes, while Matt was the mayor of a different state. I can't remember which one off the top of my head, as it was said at one point, as she's grown up, with important people in her life, and Hillary comes by also and deals with the situation at the art gallery and tells her to take a check with some money, and she fires her and permanently get lost. And she drives away, and Ryan gets out of the house and invites him to dinner with them that very night, and I'm enjoying myself viewing the film from start to finish. Matt and Christina go out and get special kinds of Oregon boysenberry ice cream, while Tilly chats with John and says what she believes in when she believes he's not good enough nor good looking at all. And after they finish it, Matt accidentally bumps into a car, and an African American man picks a fight with him, and Matt tells him to buy a new car and drives away. And that's a perfect example of a hit and run. But the difference is, he came out to ask how much the damages are going to cost, and he gives him enough money to buy a new car. And I like the scene that it reminded me of stuff I've seen on the internet. Not that I'm going to go there now. Matt believes the marriage is a mistake after Joey asks for his opinion by the end of the day, and he says what he believes, which is a mistake, has been made by John and Joey, which is rather harsh, while Christina is heartbroken about Matt's opinion, which is very good acting by Katharine Hepburn, who is annoying in The Aviator, being played by Cate Blanchett. But let's get away from that for now. John's parents arrive in San Francisco, and as soon as they see Joey, they have faces that look like they're shocked to death, and they bring the parents to the house while Christina tells Matt he's making a terrible mistake, as she'll be on Joey's side on this. And the drive is even more awkward with John and Joey and John's parents, and the awkwardness works here, as well as Jordan Peele's movies Get Out, where it's almost kind of the same idea, except they're dating, and it's more of a horror film, that movie is. And Mike comes into, and Christina tears up because Matt is against the marriage, and he comes to talk with Matt and to tell him to approve the marriage until the Prentice family has arrived, as well as Joey gets to the house. And Christina chats with them for a bit as Matt comes down and John wants to talk with him, and he comes down and talks about the marriage while Mr. Prentice tells Christina, with Mr. Prentice, while Christina talks with Mr. Prentice, and she approves the marriage while the men do not, and the acting in these two scenes are magnificent. Mrs. Prentice talks with her son. Mrs. Prentice talks with her son about the marriage, as the father and Matt do not approve the wedding, and Mr. Prentice says he's very much against it, as Mrs. Prentice says they're both blind to not approve of the marriage, and John tells his father he's going to marry Joey, whether he likes it or not, and Matt realizes he is making a great mistake while Joey packs up for the next 10 years, while Christina watches her pack, and Matt goes up to John and brings everybody to the room to make a few statements about what happened throughout the day, and deciding to let them make their own decision as far as the marriage is concerned, and start on their dinner. And the climax was beautiful, as it's a very sweet ending. Now it's time for my rating. I'll give this movie a 8.7 out of 10. Sidney Poitier's acting is very good, as is everybody else's, and I really like these characters, and the writing in this could have gone wrong, but it was told just right and great. And the lines said by these actors are very well done, and they most definitely have chemistry together. And the cinematography is great to look at, as I was impressed with the movie throughout. There are times the movie was awkward, for sure, and there are so many scripts that did this premise completely wrong, as this and the romance of Jordan Peele's Get Out, but in many on their relationship, I'll say, but in many other movies that get it completely wrong. Even the awkwardness works best in those two movies, and then in any movie in general, while the scenes are quite tremendous, as they're great to watch from start to finish. This movie works there's a reason it's a classic, and I really enjoyed viewing this film, and this is a solid recommendation. So, yeah, it's a really good movie. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time I will be back with Kramer versus Kramer. And until then, let's eat dinner.